Hello again and welcome back to another Warhammer 40k Imperial Guard video. Hopefully you guys have read this video and I've got very excited because I am officially announcing the return of the list review videos. Yes, we will be doing lots and lots of list reviews going forward. So some of you may be wondering, where did the list review videos go? Well, basically, 7th edition obviously ended. And there's no point in doing list reviews near the end of 7th because the advice would be useless within a month. And that I've held off doing them straight away for 8th edition, obviously, because we need to let the ground settle. And we need to let the lay of the land for 8th edition become more clear. So that it's been a few months now since 8th edition dropped. And so it seemed like it was a good time to bring the list reviews back. I know the Imperial Guard Codex is coming out in November, but that's 2 months away. And also, I doubt there's going to be, I'm hoping there's going to be some interesting change in the Guard Codex, but I think the rule set won't be changing, obviously. Just the sort of tools we may choose, and what I'm hoping is that even some of these list reviews that are doing now pre-codex will be still useful. Some of their general principles will apply going forward. So, announcing the list review videos being back, let's just get straight into it. I've got one here. It's pretty, to be honest, the one that I've picked, there's not much to say about it, to be honest. It's quite a good list. But what I've sort of chosen, why I've chosen it is because it is quite good. It's quite a good base for us to start off on. And I kind of want to start on a positive note. I don't want to have the first list that I review just tear it apart and, upset someone potentially. Anyway, the list was sent in by Alex Exley. 2,000 points. Pure Imperial Guard. Okay, so he's done a very simplified version of the list, just telling what the units are and then telling me how it's split across detachment-wise. So it is 2,000 points, HQ section, 6 company commanders, each with a bolter. The Warlord has a power maul, and then 2 Tempesta Primes with both a command rod. Okay, so what we're looking at there is 12 Imperial Guard orders and 4 Tempesta Prime orders. So we're looking at 16 orders there. That is a lot. I say again, a lot of orders. A crazy amount of orders. Okay, not necessarily a bad thing. It is just a crazy amount of orders. Going on, the troops, 3 times 40 blobs of conscripts. I like that. That's a good base. I definitely like that. Because it just, 3 blobs of 40 conscripts means you're going to be, no matter what the deployment zone, you're going to be able to string those out across your front line. And that's going to be enough to protect you from almost any turn 1 charge or give you insurance against turn 1 deep strikers or deep striking in general. That gives you a good mass to build off. I am currently just using 30-man conscript blobs, but this is a case of 6 of one, half dozen another. Do you take 4 30-man blobs or 3 40-man blobs? I would take 4 30-man blobs just because of you've got orders to spare probably, and also because of the more flexibility that you have. But like I said, it's not a huge difference. 6 infantry squads with las cannon and plasma, and the sergeant has a bolter. Okay, I like that. I do. I see where you're coming from. I'm loath to recommend that you change things too much in this regard because you've gone for 4 different battalions here, so I can see you thinking. You've got 3 conscripts plus 6 infantry squads plus 4 Scions, so that's 13, which you can break down 4 times into 4 battalions. So I get where you're going for. I totally get that. But and I know this is going to sound strange because what you've got coming up next, but I would seriously recommend you consider taking 3 infantry squads instead, and taking 3 veteran squads with triple plasma and las cannon. You need that ballistic skill 3 on the ground. You need it. You've got Scions coming up, and I can see that. Don't worry, I can see that. But you want both veteran squads, if possible, and Scions. This is why. Okay, because you've got 4. The next part is 4 times 5 Scions with 2 plasma gun and a sergeant with a plasma pistol in each. Okay. What I found to be most effective is you take veterans with plasma and you take Scions with plasma, or you take veterans and Scions. This basically puts your opponent in a rock and a hard place, because he's got 20 to 30 Scions beaming down in his face, plasma guns, melter guns, whatever, heavy weaponry. So you've got heavy weaponry, but then you've also got an additional 30, 40 veterans rocking around with las cannons and plasma guns. So your opponent has to go, well, if I try and clean up the Scions first to get rid of that backfield threat, I'm getting smashed by the veteran plasma guns and veteran las cannons. But if I decide to ignore the Scions and try and remove the veterans first, then I've just got 20, 30 Scions running rampage in my lines. So 99% of the time, they're going to go for the Scions, which means 99% of the time, your veterans rock through unmolested. And they just plasma gun everything to death. And you've done a good thing by taking 20 Scions. At a 2,000 point list, I would maybe consider going up to 30. Because you need to have enough Scions, which it will take your opponent like a full turn, at least a full turn, to wipe that many out. 20, they probably won't need to waste all their firepower, and they can go back to shooting at your veterans. But if you've got 30, then potentially you'll be able to just force them to waste valuable turns, 1 to 2 turns, clearing out the Scions, and all that time they've been getting bombarded by your veterans. Infantry squads don't do a lot of damage. They're all right, but I think a lot of people in this on the channel have got the right idea, where it's kind of infantry squads are not really damage dealers. They're your second line. They're, holy crap, they broke through the 120 conscripts. We need a second line to protect the big guns. I do see some, and a lot of people will just use bare bones infantry squads instead of conscripts, which I think is potentially viable. Potentially. But that's getting off topic. What I'm trying to say to you is, I like that you've got las cannon plasma guns. I like that. But I think you should consider some veteran squads. Okay? I think you should consider it. Next thing, elites. You've got 4 commissars with bolters. Okay. I guess you're sort of relying on 1 commissar per sort of fire base. I think 4 is the minimum that you want to be rocking at 2,000 points. I would consider 5, but 4, what you've got to remember is 4 is the minimum. 4 is the bare amount you'll need to make sure that pretty much all times your army is not suffering from battle shock. If your opponent is savvy and has even a couple of squads of snipers, which they'll probably use turn 1, if they are able to snipe off even just 1 commissar, it means the overlapping bubbles become a lot harder to keep going for the summary execution. So I would consider 5, assuming you're going to lose 1. And if you don't, it gives you redundancy. 2 Scion command squads with 4 melters. No problem there. No problem there at all. Although I prefer plasma command squads. Because I don't know if this makes sense, but I often find I'm not really bothering to order my melters. And I am bothering to order my plasma because I want to overcharge my plasma. So I don't know. You've got 8 plasma guns versus 8 melter guns. You've got 8 of each. So my recommendation to you would be try both out. Try having plasma Scion squads and Melter Scion squads, and try having Plasma command squads and Plasma and Melter command squads. Okay, try which one works. I've personally found putting Plasma in my command squads works better. But again, these are more cosmetic preferences than actual game-breaking advice. Your list, I want to say, is solid. If you took this list into battle, I think you'd do very well. I'm just saying, experiment up and find what works consistently better. Okay? 7 rattling snipers. This is the first option you've put in, which kind of breaks the mold. I'm guessing the feeling was you wanted some snipers and you just had some points left over, so you took 7 rattling snipers. That's fine. I mean, you shouldn't really have any points, random points left over. And in 7th edition, I would have beaten you about the head, slapped you about the head, and said, no, there's no such thing as wasted points. Find a better home for them. But it's a lot harder to do this in 7th because the point values are all a bit wacky. So I often myself find myself filling in the last 3 or 4 points with like random bolters or a random power sword because I can't physically take anything else. So I understand that. And you can't really go wrong with rattling snipers. My only thing is that they're really easy to kill. In cover, they have a 4+ save. So they're very easy to kill. 7 rattling snipers won't have a huge impact on the game. They just won't. Heavy, you've taken 3 times 3 heavy weapon squads with las cannons. So you've taken 9 las cannons, and then you've done the same 9 mortars, and then you've taken 3 saber defense searchlights. And you've put all of that into 4 battalions, which gives you 15 command points. 15 command points is a lot. I'm not saying it's too much, though. I'm just saying in experience, I've tended to find that 12 is enough. But 15 is certainly viable. 15 is great. But 12 is enough. If you had to cut this down to 3 battalions because you want to start taking some veterans, then that would cut into your troop choices. I think 12 will be fine. Don't worry about that too much. Also, try and remember that a lot of tournaments at the moment are limiting you to 3 detachments at 2,000 points. So if this is potentially going to go to tournament, or you have to adapt this for a tournament, my recommendation would be 3 battalions, 12 command points, and get yourself some veterans. So what would I change on the heavy support thing? I don't like putting big, heavy-hitting, expensive guns in heavy weapon squads. Even you've got so many las cannons and so much plasma already in the list. Already. Do you really need those 9? Those 9 las cannons are just going to die. They're just going to die. Because especially because you haven't got any veteran squads. I know I'm coming back to these veterans, but I think veterans are the key. First-line veterans are the key to success in 8th edition. Because the problem is that your opponent will clean up your Scions fairly quickly because you've only got 20 of them. Next thing on the list, 3 heavy weapon squads. They're going to die in a heartbeat because they're heavy weapon squads. There's 6 wounds amongst them. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of putting lance cannons in heavy weapon squads. Mortars in heavy weapon squads, absolutely fine. Absolutely fab-dabby-dozy. They're cheap, they're great. That's the principle you want to apply. You probably want to drop those heavy weapon squads down to heavy bolters, maybe autocannons, because then when they get targeted, oh, big deal, I lost 36 points. It's not a big deal. So that's my advice to you there. So going through overall, how many, you've got 12 orders for how many squads? 9, 15 squads-ish? Yeah, so you need all those orders, I guess. Something, again, I would look into Commissar Yarrick, or if you're Catachan's Harker. I see Commissar Yarrick as a commissar and an officer combined into one, because his aura of rerolling wants to hit is basically like giving everyone the take aim order. That's how I see it. And then also he's a commissar, so it's like It's like a 2-in-1 package. So that's what I just wanted to say. So go overall, I think your list is good. You haven't got too many stupid upgrades. I mean, you've paid for bolters on your company commanders. I know it's and a power more. I know overall that's only 10 points, but you could just give them shotguns for free. And shotguns are great. I'm gonna model a load of guys with shotguns. A load of officers with shotguns. I'm gonna buy a box of Cadians and just give them shotguns and be like, these are my officers. Or buy a 5-man command box and these are my officers. Because shotgun officers they're just a really good idea. Especially with the new shotgun rules. So yeah. So that's a mana quibble, that's 10 points you could save. If you drop your heavy weapon squads or las cannons down to something cheaper like heavy bolters, that should save you some points. If you drop the rattling snipers, because they're a bit of a random one, we were sort of looking 10 points there. Is it 72 points with 3 las cannons? I think it's 72 points. It is 72, yeah. So you're saving 36 times 3. It's like 100 odd points. 108 points? 108 points, I think. Plus 10, 128 points. Plus the 7 rattlings. What, 7 times 7, I believe? I don't know the full cost for a rattling. I'm trying to think. There's a rattling 6 or 7 points. Anyway, fuck it. 7 rattlings is what, roughly like 50 points. I can't think off the top of my head. But you're looking at basically, I would say you're looking at easily about 200 points you could shave off. Which is crazy when you think about it, because that's shaving 200 points without dropping a model. When you think about it, that's actually quite good. And you could then use those 200 points to upgrade 3 of your infantry squads to veteran squads with plasma instead, and you might have some left over for an extra commissar. There you go. It's an idea. But again, I just think you need more than your Scions, because if I'm going to be absolutely honest, your Scions are the only thing there which are your reliable damage dealers. And you haven't got all that many. You've got 20. You've got 30 in total. I keep saying 20. You've got 30 in total in a 2,000 point game. It's not enough. I take 20 in a 1,000 point game. So should you be taking 40? Maybe. I think 30 is enough. But yeah, I think you need some veterans in there to capitalise on, because you've got to, this is the last thing I'm going to say for your list, right? My advice. You have to capitalise on the huge distraction that your Scions are providing. They will beam in, do that distraction, and the rest of your army has to take advantage. If they don't, what will happen is the rest of your army will sling out a few pot shots, and then oh, your enemy's back. You're back to square one. So that's my recommendation. Overall, solid list. However, I think there is some room for improvement. I hope you found this video useful. I think Mr. Lexicon, and I hope that people who have listened to this video have found it useful as well. So list reviews are back. Send me your list reviews via Gmail. I'm not doing the multiple different ones now because I found it too hard to keep track of. Send me your list reviews to oddworldinhabitant1293@gmail.com. Now, if I get inundated, because the last time I did list reviews, I had like a couple of hundred subscribers, and now I've got a couple of thousand subscribers. If I get inundated with just thousands of list reviews, I doubt it, but tens upon tens of list reviews, I don't want to just do list reviews. I don't want this to become a list review channel. So I just want to say I will pick the most interesting ones to do videos on, and the rest of them, if I can, I will always get back to you. But my advice would be, if you send me a listing and someone else sends me a listing which is quite similar to yours, I will choose one of them and then just keep an eye out for the list review. And if you sent one in, you'll get a similar review, and hopefully you'll be able to learn from that. Okay, that's my advice. So thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time.